What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be going through an Elite XI team selection. So boy oh boy do I have an absolute banger for you guys today. I'm probably going to be delivering the draft with the highest amount of top 10Ks in the world, so you guys know it's about to be a good one. Now I'll be going over what the Elite XI actually is, but all you guys have to know is I haven't stopped at just one draft. I will be delivering 2 drafts in this video. So the second draft is going to be an update to the algorithm. If you guys watched my video from a few days ago, it was titled the best/most optimal draft. I don't really think the algorithm was calibrated at that stage because that draft wasn't the best, but don't worry, I've delivered an update at the end of this video that looks a lot better. So no matter what your guys' playstyle is of FPL, if you do prefer the kind of AI machine learning algorithm way of things, then the second draft will be for you, so make sure that you guys stick around for that. But if you guys do prefer these kind of drafts from elite managers with kind of 10 top 10k finishes, the first draft will be right up your alley. Now obviously you guys don't have to kind of choose these drafts. I'm not saying that. Use this as guidance if you want to use it as a kind of template, then make your own changes, add your own flavor. That's exactly what you guys should be doing. But I promise you that these 2 drafts are absolutely great, so if you guys are interested in them, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into them. Use Fantasy Football Fix to help win your mini leagues. Their new Elite XI tool helps you track the world's best managers live, giving you access to the minds of some of the best managers in the world with over 80 top 10k finishes. You'll get game week by game week analysis of their teams, as well as instant team change push notifications from their app available on iOS as well as Android. Get started now for free using the link in the description and get free access till the game week 1 deadline. So before we get into the actual Elite XI draft, what is the actual Elite XI? Well, you just seen the kind of ad from Fantasy Football Fix. It's part of their kind of website. They've added this new edition since last season. And what it is a combination of elite managers that have really good finishes. You guys can go check out their actual drafts individually, or you guys can look over the draft I'm going to give you in this video, which is titled the Consensus. So as the name implies, it's going to be kind of the team that all these managers do agree on, and therefore kind of a one-stop shop for a nice template. So we've spoken about kind of the best top 10k finishes and 1k finishes. How many exactly does this draft have? Well, in terms of top 10k finishes, it has a massive total of 82 top 10k finishes. I myself only have 3, so if I'm reviewing this draft, you can add those 3, which takes you to 85. Then in terms of the top 5k finishes, that's a massive 61. So the majority of these managers finished in the top 5k when they finished in the top 10k, which is simply outstanding. Then the final rating is going to be the top 1k, which is going to be 18 top 1k finishes. So you guys can probably trust this draft quite a bit. But as mentioned, each individual manager also has their own drafts, so go check that out if you guys want to. So let's go on to this actual draft of the Elite XI Consensus. Just a reminder, this is kind of the combination of all the minds put together, bringing you a starting 11 and a bench. Now before we get into that video, I know that I don't have kind of 82 top 10k finishes, but I do have 3 in the last 5 seasons, so if you guys do want to become a member and support the channel, I always appreciate it. You'll get access to exclusive channels on my Discord server where you guys can ask me questions, but don't worry, there's still free channels if you guys want to reach out to me there. Otherwise, follow me on Twitter or comment down below as I always reply to my comments. We'd love to see what your guys' final draft is looking like. So the first thing that I want to point out here is that this draft did have 2 million left in the bank, so quite a significant amount of money if you guys do want to make an upgrade, and that money is exactly what you guys can use to put your own flavor on this team. So I'm going to start off on the bench, and the bench is going to be super cheap if you guys want to use that money to upgrade the bench, 100% fine, but the Elite XI managers are choosing Areola as the 4.0 goalkeeper. Now at the stage of recording this, it seems like Turner will be moving to Nottingham Forest. It hasn't been confirmed yet by the club, and therefore he hasn't been added to the game. So at the moment, if he's not added by game week 1, you guys will probably go for Areola as he's still listed as an Arsenal player. Now will Areola actually start? I don't really think so just be careful of that because his price might drop. Otherwise, no complaints on the bench. Baldock and Bayer are both nailed options, not as attacking as maybe someone like a Kabore from Luton, but these 2 options are very secure. So out of the 4.0 defenders, going for these 2 or Kabore is where I would select, so just go whichever players you guys prefer. Then the 4.5 forward of choice is going to be Mubama from West Ham. Seems like he might be the most secured option of getting at least some minutes, but don't expect the world from him. So the bench is definitely quite cheap, and if you guys do have 2 million by game week 1, maybe upgrade one of these defenders to a 4.5. Now going on to the starting 11 of the Consensus XI is going to be a 5.0 goalkeeper. That's going to be Onana. So yes, kind of the template pick at the moment for a goalkeeper position. If you guys don't know, Onana's ownership is the highest after Areola, so basically the highest owned playing goalkeeper. Now I do like the selection because I guess he is kind of 0.5 cheaper than a Luke Shaw, might not be as attacking but he could get some bonus points, which has been heavily spoken about with the way that Manchester United play. So playing out the back, getting those successful passes might be an addition to Onana, but it all depends on how many clean sheets he actually holds. Now I don't really like the United fixtures to start off this season with, but I guess a goalkeeper is a long-term position, so I'm perfectly fine with the selection. Now moving into the defensive department, and the first kind of shake-up, although popular owned, is going to be John Stones from Man City. Now my personal favourite kind of defender from the club, if you guys want to know why, go watch my kind of best defender video, has a pretty decent amount of XG involvement and the best out of the Man City defenders, and I think that he's personally quite nailed. The introduction of Guardiola might affect the left-hand side of the defence more than the right-hand side, where John Stones has been playing. Now I like the selection as well because of the fact that you guys can always move to Ben Shaw come game week 3 onwards, because as you guys know, the Chelsea fixtures to start off this season aren't that great, but do improve from game week 3 onwards. The one bit of advice for Man City though is they do play in the Super Cup, which is midweek after game week 1, so I don't really know what's going to happen with game week 2's team selection. But I still do like the Man City coverage because as you guys know, the fixtures are simply outstanding and Man City's defense is rock solid. Now the next two selections are going to be, as I always say, where the kind of data matches the general thoughts of managers. It's Gabriel, but then also Stupinan. So these two options I've covered a lot in my previous drafts, haven't left any of my drafts, and I do agree with the consensus XI, which is always nice to see. So 5.0 price tag on both of them is pretty cheap, and I personally like the selection. I haven't really seen many drafts without Gabriel or at least a Stupinan in their team, so comment down below if you guys don't have either of them. Now moving on to midfield department, I'm going to start off with Marcus Rashford at 9.0 million, very good price tag, playing out of position now that Højlund is going to be injured for the start of the season, and that's why I definitely think that he's worth that 9.0 million. Now the consensus XI hasn't given you the decision of Bruno or Rashford because they've actually gone for both of them, so both the United mids are going to be here. Now I do agree with this, the fixtures like Onana might not be that strong to start off this season, but the price tags both these players come in at is simply outstanding. The one question mark about Bruno though, with Mount being introduced into that starting 11, don't exactly know where Bruno is going to be playing on the field, fingers crossed it's not too deep, as Mount is quite attacking. But I guess we will see that over the opening games of the season, and at his price tag, you guys can always downgrade him or move him to a similar price midfielder without losing too much value. Now let's kind of complete our midfield department with Bukayo Saka from Arsenal. The current consensus is choosing him as their Arsenal midfielder, and I have no complaints there as I think he's pretty nailed. Also added to that, the fact that he's on penalties, I think puts him a little bit above Odegaard and Martinelli, even though his attacking stats aren't as strong. Then the next two midfielders are going to be pretty cheap, 6.5 for both of them, the first one Matoma and the second one Mbeumo, and these two are the kind of most popular 6.5s at the moment. Now I do like Matoma for the opening couple fixtures. I think with the new signings, at least from an attacking point of view, they won't replace his left hand side, so he should be pretty nailed for the opening fixtures. Brighton also have some really nice fixtures to start off the season with, so if you guys do want to jump ship from game week 4 onwards, you guys always can. Whereas with Mbeumo, probably a more medium term hold. I think without Ivan Toney, has to be the talisman, and fingers crossed he's also on penalties. So in terms of the midfield department, no complaints here. I think you got most of your kind of big additions. I like Bruno and Rashford as a double up, Bukayo Saka is my favourite Arsenal midfielder, and the 6.5s also look pretty strong. This might be one of those areas though that you might want to use that 2.0 million left in the bank. If you guys do want to go for a Martinelli over a Matoma, you guys can. And that's even going to leave you some money to upgrade your bench. Otherwise, if you guys want to go for a Foden, that could also be a selection. But I kind of get what the consensus is saying here. They've gone super conservative. They're going for options that will definitely start with Matoma and Mbeumo. Let me know what you guys think about this midfield in the comments down below. I know it's pretty template, but template isn't always bad. Now heading up front to complete our forward department, it's going to be Erling Haaland, and I'll put the Kamsi armband on him because the consensus has him as the captain as well. It's a nice little addition there that it shows you who the consensus would captain. I will let you know that 100% of the managers are captaining Erling Haaland, which isn't too surprising. But as I say continuously throughout the preseason, he's a mainstay in my team, an essential option, and his 0 XG in the Community Shield isn't putting me off him. So he's probably in your team, so let's skip over him because he's not that exciting. Now the final forward to go over, and as I've mentioned, the consensus XI is usually quite conservative, and definitely the safe pick at the forward position is going to be Ollie Watkins. So 8.0 million is a nice price tag to get him at, not only from his own personal point of view, but also in terms of flexibility, as you can always downgrade him or upgrade him with that extra bit of value. So the popular options at the current moment are going to be Ollie Watkins, Jackson from Chelsea, and then finally João Pedro from Brighton. So Ollie Watkins, obviously the most expensive option out of those three, and to be honest, probably the most nailed. Now I know that the Villa fixtures aren't too great to start off the season with, but under Emre, they've actually been a pretty decent side. Now the ceiling might not be the highest for Ollie Watkins at the current moment, but as mentioned, kind of a nice flexible position if he doesn't really perform. So as you guys can see, a pretty kind of template starting 11 from the Consensus XI. But I've said this throughout preseason, the template is there for a reason. The template is the popular picks amongst the FPL community. And do you guys actually think we make bad decisions? I obviously don't think we make good decisions, but I guess with that 2.0 million, you guys can upgrade this or change it how you please. The changes I probably would make, as I don't really like John Stones in the defensive department, I might go with Ben Chilwell to start off the season with, and then I probably would upgrade Matoma to someone like a Martinelli. But you guys don't really have to do that, that's my own personal opinion, and if you like a João Pedro up front, you can also save some money there. But once again, saying this team had 82 top 10k finishes, so it's probably going to be pretty decent, but I would also recommend that you guys go look at the individual drafts, because there's some nice spicy differentials in some of them. Now as promised, I'll be going over a second draft in this video, but first I want to give you guys some context of the team that I'm actually going to be showing you, as Fix has some other team reveals. So if you guys do navigate to the big data team reveals, there are 4 options of teams that might be quite enticing. Now the first one is to be a pure kind of template. It's the highest owned players. So what Fix does is it takes the ownership and then optimizes it to get the most owned players in a starting 11 for the right price. So the current team is going to be a 4-4-2 because the defender splits of ownership haven't been that much. So your defenders have a higher ownership than some midfielders and forwards. It's a very nice kind of option to go for over there. I'll be going over it in probably our deadline stream coming up on Friday. The next team selection is going to be the expert managers. So I've just shown you the Elite XI. So what's the difference between these two teams? Well, the expert managers basically takes any kind of players, not just those affiliated with Fix. So they have an algorithm that takes a kind of social media posts, combines their rank history, and then makes them an expert. So in terms of the differences in team structure, this expert managers team had João Pedro up front, and then spread that money in the midfield department. So you guys probably know what they did in terms of a certain midfielder, the Egyptian king, but I'll leave that up to your own curiosity. Then the next team is the one that I'll be showing you shortly. It's going to be the algorithm team. This takes from game week 1 to game week 5. So it takes the next 5 game weeks and does projection of points and then optimizes for the best team. So once again, this team will be from game week 1 to game week 5. And what's the best team for those 5 game weeks? Then the final team is going to be the differential team. So what Fix does as an algorithm in terms of ownership, it takes players that have a low ownership but also have good points projections. And then optimizes that team to give you guys the best selection in terms of low owned options with good potential. So these 4 teams you'll all find once again under the big data team reveals, and I'll be showing you guys the algorithm team. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the team that you guys just saw on screen right now. That's going to be the Elite XI Consensus 11, because there were only a few changes in terms of the algorithm. So the 3 changes that were going to come, it's going to be Matoma out, also Mbumo out, and then finally the bench option was upgraded. So what the algorithm did is it took Baldock to Henry, which I do like as a 4.5 option. Just please make sure that he's back from that injury. Then in terms of the Matoma upgrade, they did upgrade him to Phil Foden at 1 million more expensive. Then in terms of Mbumo, they upgraded him by 0.5 to Raheem Sterling from Chelsea. So those upgrades were going to leave you with 0.0 left in the bank, but what I've noted from the algorithm, it really likes to spend that money and usually never have money left in the bank. So let's talk about those upgrades. Matoma to Phil Foden, I do like this upgrade. I do think if Phil Foden starts the majority of games, he's always going to be absolute gold, but there's a big question mark about minutes. Now, do I think he'll start against Burnley in game week 1? We might get early team sheets about this, but generally I do think he should be in that starting 11. So is that enough to actually get you Phil Foden? I think I might actually stick with Matoma for the opening 3 game weeks and then make an assessment on where he is. Then in terms of Mbumo and also Raheem Sterling, you guys can understand this because Chelsea's fixtures from game week 2 onwards are simply outstanding, especially that run from game week 3 onwards. So I do actually get the Raheem Sterling move, but I probably would prefer Mbumo as I consider him to be more of a talisman. So do I agree with the upgrades that the algorithm has done? I like the bench upgrade, giving you some more coverage for a John Stones, but I probably would revert the Sterling to Mbumo one. But as you guys can see, this team looks a lot better than the one I posted a few days ago. The algorithm has definitely improved over the upcoming days and will continue to improve till that game week 1 deadline. So once again, do you guys prefer this draft or the one from the Consensus XI? That one was a bit more template, this one's a bit more differential, but it could also actually work out. If you guys want to see my latest draft, check out the video I released yesterday, and I posted 2 drafts there, one with Harry Kane and one with Mo Salah. I'll also be posting my final team tomorrow and also in the deadline stream, so make sure those notifications are turned on so you guys don't miss that video and that live stream. But this is basically going to wrap up the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Hopefully I see you guys in the deadline stream tomorrow, approximately 1 hour before the deadline. But I'm signing off. This has been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.